One report specifically saying that this is Alia's lowest box office opener.
She has to make that choice.
Hey, you didn't have any monologue in this film, yeah, at the end.
No.
In fact, you had no dialogue.
Shah Rukh Khan and my daughter's Masis, they make sure that they brainwash her into believing he's the only actor worth following.
It was Divya Khosla Kumar, putting a photograph of an empty theatre.
I think there's no point in bringing down anyone. Beyond business is also personal.
तो मार खा के कैसे आ गया? And I remember going there, whacking the shit out of these two boys.
Someone's coming to my house. I'm sitting in my banyan and boxers, and I'm like, Abhi mata.
Guys, I'm so sorry if I forgot to say this. Spoilers होने वाले. I'm sitting with one of my favorite directors, Mr. Vasan Bala. I'm a huge fan and he knows it.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank
obviously
you.
We've spoken about our shared love for films and 90s.
Yes. I watched Jigra the day it released and I didn't watch it in the preview. Okay. I watched it properly, a ticket deke. And maybe because I am an older sister and I have to qualify this sometimes because I felt the film did so much for me. So thank you for making Jigra for all of us.
Thank you for watching.
How has this week been for you? We're sitting a week after the release. Today's a Friday. Last Friday, the film hit the theatres. How has it been?
So it's been like a roller coaster only. And, one of those deadly rides that everyone sees people screaming coming down. It's similar. So you put in that coffin kind of a place and the thing goes below your feet.
Correct.
And then there's a free fall and then somehow you find your footing.
Correct.
So currently it's free fall.
Correct. You do know that, when we live in the time of the box office.
Absolutely.
All right. And I don't know why हमारा जो हुनर है वो एक monetary basis पे नापी जाती है. How have you grappled with that? How have you understood this?
So I think it is extremely essential because after a point it's passion and it's vocation also. घर का rent और school का fees भी जाता है. So so it is we are in a market and within that market you kind of showcase your art. So it is really important. I mean, if the box office is with you, things become slightly more easier. The scrutiny is less, and maybe in the next film you try and do or push it further and see. And it's a constant state of negotiation in that sense.
Correct.
You keep writing, you present your script. You get people on board or not, or not based on your previous effort, and then you just keep negotiating your space, basically.
And you have been one hell of a negotiator. I remember when the journey Peddlers had, from being so critically acclaimed to even now, I don't think we can see it on OTT.
Yeah, it has no space. It's still somewhere in limbo.
Yeah, and then there was Marth, which we also had Mami, when it released. And then after that, it came in the theatres. Yeah. And then there was a journey that you had with Marth as well. Yeah. And a year and a half ago, I remember all of us celebrated Monica, Oh My Darling. And it was great because here, there was no box office then.
Correct.
I remember very clearly before the film, hit the theatres, one of our friends said, बहुत excited हो वासन के लिए क्योंकि यार उसको budget भी मिली है picture बनाने की. Did that make you happy at that point?
No, it is but just to make it clear that, whatever budget you get, you're always operating 1/3 or 1/4 or even 1/5.
Oh.
Because what you really want to make will be 5 times more.
Oh.
So I think even the person who is making the biggest film is operating 1/4. If you ask Rohit Shetty, and if suppose he's getting an X amount, it will be 1/4.
My God.
Because you're always, I mean, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because at least you're thinking more than your resources.
Correct.
And then you have to, because your vision always has to be more than your resource.
Correct.
If it is lesser than your resource, then it's a problem. Then you're spending because you have money and you really haven't thought through.
That's true.
So the struggle is legit and it's good for filmmaking.
It's good for filmmaking.
Yeah,
amazing.
Absolutely.
I remember this year when it was Raksha Bandhan, and because I'm also on the radio, I remember writing a link where I said that Raksha Bandhan ki filmein क्या है हमारे पास, you know, भाई बहन की कहानी, and then you go back to फूलों का तारों का, and you go back to Dev Saab, and you go back to Zini Baby, and then after that I was like, oh, Dil Dhadakne Do, with Ranveer and Priyanka, and I love that sibling narrative as well. And then I said, and then I saw Jigra, and I said, oh, finally, like we have. So I want to start off by asking you, did you ever feel this lack for this relationship to be explored in the movies at all?
So I think. So it didn't. It wasn't born out of lack of storytelling in this genre. It just struck at that point of time in a conversation with Karan, and we just went with the flow. Later we realized, oh, there is a dearth of this, but it wasn't more. It wasn't calculated that way. But also, if you go far back, you know, in Tamil, Pasamalar was there, Shivaji Ganesh and Savitri, which is legendary. Over here also, obviously, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. Then in between there was a very interesting Josh.
Yeah, of course.
But the brother-sister dynamic has always been a very strong subplot in a lot of films, but never the main
plot.
But it has always been a very strong subplot in that sense. But this just felt right for this, to explore and to go with. And also the point is, I have a huge reservation on if it's usually a female-led film, it's usually revenge, or it is, you know, exploiting rape.
That's so true.
Which has always been. I mean, B movies have thrived on it.
Correct.
And these two things just can't be the reason for someone to, you know, go beyond their means and measure to do something.
That's so true.
So I feel, and especially when kind of men become too patronizing about this.
Correct.
Then it's even more problematic.
Yeah.
Even though in the end you can probably, you know, do an MC with the empowerment monologue.
Yeah.
But it doesn't fly.
Hey, you didn't have any monologue in this film, yeah, at the end.
No.
In fact, you had no dialogue. Guys, I'm so sorry if I forgot to say there's spoilers hone wale. It's a spoiler-filled chat, so I don't know how we're going to do this. I don't care how many people watch this chat really, because I watch the film, then watch this chat.
Maybe.
Okay, that will be the way to do it. But I remember, because I'll tell you what it ripped open in me, a memory that has been sealed for so long. I was in Little Angels in Science. And I have a younger brother, 2 years younger than me. And
which school?
Little Angels.
Okay.
And one day he came to the classroom, say, "मैं पिटा हुआ." So I said, "तेको किसने मारा?" And then he said, "Sani Maniktala." Sani Maniktala had an older brother called Hani Maniktala, and he was in my class. And I remember saying that, "You wait here." And I said, "तू मार खा के कैसे आ गया?" And I said, "How could you get beaten?" And I remember going there, and I remember whacking the shit out of these two boys, and it was very normal for me. Why was it normal for me? Because I was the older sibling.
Correct.
And after that, nobody dared. And I was like, I never thought of it as unusual, because the older sibling gets treated this way. You have to take care of the younger one. And I think that was why I was so drawn to this film. Older sisters don't have a representation at all. Older sisters are usually the Vidwa Bahan or the Budi Ma, and it's the truth, you know. So thank you, you know, for why did you want to do this? Did you feel anything for older sisters or older siblings?
I'm a single child, so but I grew up with a cousin. But I have had older cousins, sisters, and obviously there is so much dignity and grace with which they've always, you know, presented themselves, and there is that thing that I've seen within them. And even my mom, when I've seen her with her older sister, or how she is with the brothers, and you kind of see the responsibility that they take up. I mean, maybe mostly it is forced, which is also unfair, because after a point, I think the elder, both male and female, I think they stop living for themselves.
So true.
And you're just living to cater. In that sense, or and you become what you serve in a sense, which is also problematic. But so over here, what I really felt was, if this situation wouldn't have happened, I don't think Satya and Ankur would have stayed together for long. they would have gone their own way. She would have grappled with the fact that, oh, now he's old enough to live his own life, and then they would have come back again. If this was a more indie Christmas kind of a film, then it would have been that, meeting on Thanksgiving and then
and all those
reminiscing.
memories come back.
Correct. It would have been that kind of a film.
No, absolutely. Let's dive into the film. Okay, I love the way you made some very brave choices. You made the choice of the backstory comes first, and I think that that's a crazy choice because we could have understood that later, but you chose to lead with it. That's a choice. I'm not going to say why did you choose that, but it did. It took us by surprise. To be honest. We were not ready. You don't go into a film expecting that to be the first scene. Thank you very much. Like in Monica, I didn't expect that robo thing to be the first scene. What is this? You want to kill people in every first scene of your film?
Interesting. I never thought it that way, but yeah, it is happening.
It starts with a death.
Correct.
And then, of course, you see her and you build her character around, and you know that she's alpha. You know she's going to take charge. And then once the drama really hits, there's also this entire plot about the plot is, now that he gets stuck in a drug case. And while I was getting into the film, I was like, what Jigra is doing for this generation, Gumrah did for mine.
Correct.
Like an entire generation. I'm one of those kids who watched Gumrah and said, I would never do drugs. You can call me boring. I don't give a shit, really. But it changed my life. And that's the power movies have. And recently in our recent history, we've had that as a huge headline where there was a young boy, a star son, who was caught in something like this. Did these two ever collide as story and fact and fiction?
Not as much, but Gumrah definitely, because it's a strong memory. That was there, and but it wasn't a very conscious one. But while we were making, obviously we knew this is there because
correct.
And I loved Rahul Roy's role also in it in the original. It was a different kind, but yeah, it was also a lead character finding a father figure, and in that search she kind of gets led into something else. But yeah, it's a different kind of a story. This is a different kind of a story. But along the way, we weren't too conscious of keeping away because we knew those were two different parts.
100%.
So we weren't too conscious about that either. And this was a brother-sister bond. And I think I remember an incident actually Vikram had told me once. He told me that, once Akira was little and she probably was choking on something. And he froze. He didn't know what to do. But Ishika just put her fingers in and just removed her out.
Thank God. Yeah.
And I think that's something that women do in these situations where men freeze. Like I have also seen Prerna, like just very chill, change diapers, Cyber was little, and the plane's just like fully turbulent. I mean, everything's just going helter-skelter. She's just
oh my God,
fully calm. And which I can never really fathom myself even standing.
Men notice when women are giving birth to babies. That's another one.
Same, like how I froze. Then I wasn't of much help. Rather than just I just stayed there and only presence, like almost attendance.
Correct.
Nothing more. So I think there is something that happens beyond the physicality, beyond what people imagine, and it's just something you just spring up and do something spectacular.
Did the news stories about Aryan Khan in jail also drive any part of this film?
No, none. In fact, while making, a couple of the younger actors were asking me if this was, but it never, because I think those are different circumstances, and so that it almost seemed like a witch hunt.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a manhunt, but it did no. That wasn't the case.
Correct. It was so important for you also to make sure that the protagonist, who is the Jigra, is innocent.
Right.
Yeah, because if he had any part to play in this, then this film would not work.
Would not work.
Yeah. And I thought that obviously it was important. I also love your comment on like how much I hate rich people. And I think that middle class ethic shines in the film. I'm sorry to say we don't come from, I don't know about you, but I definitely don't come from any privilege, guys. But that is important to you as well, because I think the rich try to co-opt you in a way where they make it seem like they're taking care of you, and what they're actually doing is exploiting you. There's only one line there at some point,
Right.
but that really shone to me. Was that important to you as well?
It was important, and two films from completely different filmmakers. In fact, three rather. If you see, one is I think Naseeb, where Pran is asked to take the hit.
Yeah.
Second is actually a film by Akira Kurosawa called High and Low,
I
where
love
something
High and
similar
Low.
happens.
One of the best films ever.
And then I think White Tiger also had this
Yes.
similar premise. So I think maybe Naseeb and High and Low kind of somehow stayed with me.
Yeah.
And which is where this happened. But also didn't want it to sound or like feel villainous at any point of time. It should be as matter of fact, as calm as nature.
Yeah,
Like,
there was a
it's-
lot not said.
Yeah,
There was
exactly.
just one line where
You try your
office
best,
jal
please.
gaya,
Correct.
and that office jal gaya like left me very cold, because I was like, oh, we never come back to them.
Correct.
Okay, and that's another choice that you made.
Yeah, she's. I mean, that's it. That chapter is done.
That chapter is
That
really
chapter is
done.
over.
Also in her life,
Absolutely.
you know. So, and I was waiting. Maybe they come back. Are they going to send her more money? Why was there are a lot of interpretations of the scene where she gets on the plane and starts eating? Why does she eat that big meal?
So one is obviously she doesn't know what her next meal is going to be, and two, I think survival can't happen on an empty stomach. She's not going to go there and do a fast unto death. She's. I mean, that's not the approach. So obviously she's filling herself up, fueling herself, and obviously it could also be anxiety that's getting
Yeah,
into her.
yeah.
But most importantly, there's a film that I had seen called Paruthi Veeran, way back in 2007. It had Karthi and Priyamani in it, directed by Amir Sultan. And there's a scene where it's more like a Romeo Juliet kind of a thing, and where Priyamani, her character, is like beaten up by the father for being in love with this Karthi character. And after getting beaten up, she just takes a plate and asks her mother to get all the food in whatever is there in the kitchen. And the mother's like, she obviously wants to console the daughter, but the daughter is like, if this is what my life is going to be, like taking a beating from my dad for being in love, then I better
Beef up.
Just beef up.
Beef up, yeah. Where is Hanshi Dao?
So Hanshi Dao is this fictional place that is somewhere between Singapore and Malaysia.
It's fictional.
It's fictional,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll tell you why. For my audience, I spent a little time in Singapore. I was living there. So I could tell the accents. So the accent that Muthu has is
Yeah.
the Singaporean.
Correct.
See, the
Singlish.
guys who are Singlish at this point, who are OG Singapore viewers, you might think that any of this is an iteration of what you speak, and we'll never get that right.
Correct.
Okay, so let's
That's
start
true.
off with that. So you can say in the comments कि नहीं यार ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है, हम अलग तरीके से बात करते हैं. But for someone like me who was spent time there and then now I have distance, and when I heard that accent again, I was just like, oh my God. And you know what was amazing is that there were two men and they were both speaking Singlish, but one of them was Chinese Singlish
Correct.
and the other one was Tamil
Absolutely,
Singlish.
yeah.
And that was amazing because that's how people speak.
Correct.
I was like, Nola, cannot.
Correct.
Can you bring it down?
Correct.
You don't know what I'm going to say
Perfect.
next.
Perfect.
And I think Gombers lived in Singapore
Yeah,
as well,
yeah,
and that might have helped.
Absolutely.
Why did you choose Singapore? Because I don't know, because when I heard it and I heard Hanshi Dao, I was like, this is such a hangover of Gumrah. And I think for me, I associate this sort of death by,
Right.
death penalty
Death penalty.
with the countries that are actually so strict. In
Correct.
fact, she says in the film, यहाँ पर it's a fine life,
It's a fine life,
हर
yeah.
चीज में fine भरते हो. So लगाव है आपका सिंगापुर के साथ.
No, I mean, I've seen Singaporean movies and like also Tamil films very early on used to
Yes.
shoot in Singapore a lot.
Yes.
It's a lovely country. My friends also live there. It's beautiful. They also have like a really state-of-the-art prison at Changi.
Yeah.
But then this kind of a jailbreak hasn't happened there.
Yeah.
So if it was a true incident, then I could have taken the name of any true real country.
Yes.
But because this goes into that fiction realm and this kind of a jailbreak hasn't happened anywhere, so we had to like put it in a fictional place.
Correct.
But with the ethos of the things that are surrounding the little bit of the politics, little bit of how the first generation, second generation immigrants, how they
Yes.
have adapted to this place.
Yes.
So just wanted to, and also those days. Either the Sindhis, Punjabis went to Hong Kong and the South Indians came to Singapore. And that's how it worked.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So,
and speaking of Punjabis, Bhatia Sahab, okay, Bhatia Sahab is my favorite character. Manoj Pahwa is hands down my favorite actor. He's so good in anything that he does. And the fact that there is this Sher Khan-ness about
Absolutely.
him. The minute you see him, it is, there's a Bachchan song playing in the background. And that's when I wrote in my notes in the theater, is he going to be her Sher Khan? And then it turns out he does. He does. So talk to me about Manoj Pahwa and that character.
So I think the whole first the Bachchan legacy is actually inherited.
Yeah.
Like my father, who would have discovered Zanjeer in his 20s, then he told me
Correct.
that's when I discovered a superstar.
Correct.
So then you discover the superstar, and then I discovered Shah Rukh Khan, and my daughter's Masis, they make sure that they brainwash her into believing he's the only actor worth following. And it's true also. And she only knows one actor.
Oh, wow.
Male actor, Shah Rukh Khan, no one else.
Lovely.
So that's how I think this stardom, it's a really beautiful tradition of inheriting it like legacy.
Beautiful.
And that's what happened with Bachchan and Zanjeer as well. Which is why Zanjeer became like the most important Bachchan film for me. Though I discovered Bachchan with Naseeb.
What a fun film.
Absolutely.
What a fun film to discover Bachchan with. Like,
Absolutely.
he's in his top form. He's
Super.
having fun.
Yeah. And but this had to be the discovery of Bachchan, that is Zanjeer. So which is why Yari Hai Iman
And Chakku Churiya.
and Chakku Churiya as well.
I love it.
Yeah.
Is all of them Saregama Library?
Sorry, which is why we could
love you.
manage.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Because it's very hard.
It's a treasure.
Yeah, it's very hard. Because I remember when you spoke during Monica and you said
It's expensive.
सारे film का budget एक तरफ और ये गाना एक तरफ.
तरफ, yeah.
And that Gana truly is the driving heartbeat of that
Absolutely.
film. So,
And you have to very carefully choose it and not give in to the marketing demands of it being remixed.
Yes.
Rather, try and weave it and embed it into the soul of the film.
Correct.
And exist hopefully in its true sense.
Absolutely. You released it on Bachchan's birthday.
Oh, that was a coincidence.
Coincidence,
That we
right?
didn't plan. But
Yeah, it might have been just a coincidence. But I don't know, that's fate working itself.
it is.
You love me, I love you back.
Yeah.
That was
And
amazing.
so many times I have passed through Jalsa or Pratiksha in an auto and screamed out, Amitabh Bachchan! So many times.
You
I've
have
done
met
that.
him already.
I've met him once.
Yeah.
Once, yeah.
How was that?
It was like a huge tick. And it's enough that once met him, it was for an ad shoot. And it was just enough that he's acting in, there's a director-actor relationship.
Correct.
It doesn't matter what it ends up being, but we met on a set.
We met on a set.
That's it. And he was wearing a red jacket, which was like the Khuddar Namak Halal Kuli. So I was done.
Of course.
Yeah.
I remember also, one of the things that was said in the aftermath of the film, when there was a lot of reviews coming out, was that, and I'm arguing this as a fan, is that when Bachchan played the angry young man, nobody seemed to have a problem with the monotone, which is that he's got one sur.
Correct.
He's angry. But when Alia did that in Jigra,
Right.
everyone's like, Arey, Alia ko to kuch aur karne hi nahi mila.
Correct.
Because we want our women to we want them to dance and we want them to smile and we want them to be, pretty at times. Did you feel that was an absolute, did you look at that criticism and say, how could she have had any other emotion?
I think now at least since it's just been a week, I'm just trying to absorb all sorts of feedback and conversations. But for once, I know that no one is looking at men being trained to fight, but it's an absolute necessity to see on screen like a Rocky montage before the woman takes on anyone. Like no one will question Trishul, Bachchan Saab just putting everyone in that ambulance. Or saying मेरे जेब में 5 कौड़ी नहीं है but 5 लाख का सौदा करने हैं. No one will question an aeronautical engineer taking on people in that corridor with an axe.
Correct.
No
correct.
one will question
Correct.
because where is the training? It's men are born with the training.
Correct.
So, but I've also seen people of all genders question that, not just
Yeah,
the
yeah.
men.
Of course.
So but that's something that you cannot really answer or defend. But as we go along, as we make our films, maybe the conditioning will help. The more you put it out, the more you say that no, her motive is not rape or revenge.
True.
The motive is for someone else. The motive,
Yeah.
as
The
you
motive
build,
is to save a man.
yeah,
That's very tough.
yeah, exactly.
Men
And
don't need saving, man.
correct. वो भी है. And yeah, and the more we kind of delve into that, then it becomes second nature to stop guessing where is the Rocky montage,
Absolutely.
where is this woman
Yeah.
getting trained.
Correct. I mean, there's a lot been spoken about the action and like, oh my God. For me, honestly, I don't care about action. I'll be honest with you. I'm not the sort who will sit behind and say, oh wow, that was a great shot. What drives my interest towards the film is the points where I was laughing or crying. And that to me is great. One of my favorite scenes is not the scene where she's actually breaking down in the jail to that song. It's before she walks in when she
Yeah.
looks at the security guard and says, do I look sad? And then she fixes her face. And that is such a raw emotion because I think we don't want to look vulnerable to the ones we love the most.
True.
We want to be strong for their sake. So that was also in the aftermath of the film, there were a lot of reports that I couldn't make any sense of. So I'm going to ask you, have you made sense of it? One report specifically saying that this is Alia's lowest box office opener. Does that matter? And how do you guys process that?
So for me personally, it does matter because
Okay.
as a director, see, she gets probably every script written, right? She is the first choice for everyone because I mean she is the most incredible actor of our generation. Two, she could have been on any other film set, but Jigra. But
During
she chose
that time.
during that time when her daughter is growing up. So she has to make that choice, and she's trusted me with that choice. So it is my responsibility to deliver box office because we are in the business of filmmaking also. So I kind of take that responsibility completely, and so which is why I need to analyze, which is why I'm not really getting defensive on any sort of criticism because सुन लो यार कुछ तो हुआ है ना something has happened where people have stayed away, something that they've not bought, something that they not felt the need to come to the theater.
Fair.
So the more I learn, the more if at all, if any other actor decides to give their time, his or her, then make it worth it.
Make
And
it worth it, yeah.
One is that for the actor, for the producer, and two for all my friends who are waiting in line. Yeah, to all my friends who have such incredible stories, and if I work, then automatically they also work. They also
Absolutely.
get a chance. So the box office does push us back.
Yes.
And one shouldn't be dismissive of it.
Okay.
And take it responsibly and learn, listen and learn. अभी तो सुनना ही पड़ेगा.
Yeah. There was another one which really, I don't know what it was. It was Divya Khosla Kumar, putting a photograph of an empty theater and then talking about something that I had no context on. I didn't know if there was a film that was dismissed earlier by anybody from our team at Dharma, or I don't know what happened. But she said, some things. What happened there?
So I am obviously we are aware of the film. I saw the trailer first when we were already
Savi.
editing. Savi.
Savi,
Already
okay.
when we were editing Jigra. So then we saw, and obviously we were. It's a jailbreak film. Ours is also a jailbreak film, and we've already started editing Jigra. One is, I think, if anyone needs to be perturbed, it would be us.
Yeah.
Because that film probably
Came first.
It's on Netflix. Everyone can watch it.
Correct.
And even now, everyone can watch it, and everyone can
Correct.
watch this and make up their minds.
Correct.
I think there's no point in bringing down anyone. And also, filmmaking is such. Beyond business is also personal. How much ever
Because
you
we're
want to be
artists.
objective about it, it's also personal. And I'm sure Divya also felt it personal, and she felt the need to express it in this way. I mean, what to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But now both the films are out, so आपको जो देखना देख लो and you can make your own opinion.
More recently, I remember Tufan and Sarpata Parambarai releasing.
Correct.
Around the same time, and they were both these movies about
Boxing movies, yeah.
And I remember watching both, and then I made up my mind which one I like more.
5 Bhagat Singh released, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was still the same character,
It's
the
still
same
the
thing.
same character,
This is
yeah.
just the plot device.
Correct, absolutely.
So
And it was
Jadugar and Tufan also released with the same actor.
the same actor. Yeah,
Doing
yeah,
almost
absolutely.
the same things.
Yeah, and I think that right now it's what shines across is a scarcity mindset, and not in relation to Divya or anybody. I just think that, do you feel that we're sitting in a very tough time as an industry? We're not able to figure what will work, what will not work.
True.
And at the same time, because of that, we're making some crazy left of center choices. like I remember the critics were very upset when you said you will not do, previews. You had nothing to do in that decision, I'm assuming.
No.
Yeah. But do you have an opinion on this?
See, I feel it comes from a certain set of learning, and which I mean, I've not really had so many theatricals, so I wouldn't know. So as to how it affects films, or how it affects, or how this market really functions. Our thing is, by the time these things are happening, you're just hoping that you mix the film well, you have all your VFX shots in place, you have all the BGM in place.
That's
that's
about
something
it.
that you're really worrying about.
Yeah.
And the final DCP that goes, अच्छा इंटरनेशनल में ये थोड़ा रह गया तो एटलीस्ट डोमेस्टिक में खत्म कर दो. You're really worrying about all that than anything else.
Acha. I remember I texted you during that time,
yeah.
before the film was
Correct,
releasing, and you were like,
correct.
listen, I'm just editing right now.
Yeah.
I'm just doing the final
thing,
touches.
You're more worried about just the film going out in its best possible shape.
Yeah, but as a creative person on a project, all of these factors, this sort of scarcity mindset, this sort of like, let's protect our film, let's not get the word out because it would affect bums on seats, right? Do you have an opinion to that yet?
Not yet, but I feel there is a certain amount of experience that you should also kind of give credit to.
Rely on.
Because no one's seen the arc like Karan really.
Absolutely.
26 years to Kuch Kuch Hota Hai, right?
Hota Hai.
Even yesterday or day before.
Yeah.
So he's seen all sorts of like all forms of filmmaking, all sorts of market responses, all sorts of market conditions, technology coming in, technology becoming obsolete, newer technology coming in, distribution changing faces.
Correct.
So I think there is some merit to if he's
call.
taking a decision, then I'd rather believe him that it's for the larger good of his company and for the larger good of things that he's trying to protect.
Correct.
And see, Karan is someone who will keep evolving. He'll never be stagnant.
True.
And so I think he's the most receptive and the most open person I've really encountered. Someone like him should actually be supremely stuck and rigid, because
but he's not.
But he's not. He'll never say I know. He'll always be like, this is what I know, this is what I'm experiencing now, and now let's put experience with the new
discovery,
and let's see how
let's
that goes.
find something new.
Yeah. So which is why he's so relevant. Yeah, which is why I mean, so many filmmakers came, so many filmmakers faded away also, but he's still here.
He's still here, absolutely. Yeah, I remember during the run up to the film, there was something you said about Alia getting that script.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God.
But also I was like, suppose I'm sitting in my banyan and boxers and someone's coming to my house and I'm like, Abhimata. It's not like I don't want that person to come into the house. I just want to be better, ready and more presentable.
Yeah.
So
that's the script. That's the script here.
Exactly. So, but that was kind of. But then so obviously it was all happening so soon that you don't realize where is this coming from, or what is the motive of blowing all these things.
Yeah.
But also for a filmmaker, for a producer, for an artist, it is also better to not get into these conspiracy theories, because I think that kind of. Then if that becomes your life, then it's just done.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why you talk about the movie once you finish making the movie.
Exactly.
You can't do it while you're making the movie.
And even after you make, there's no point getting into conspiracy theories.
Absolutely.
Because I think some people One is obviously bots and all that, but then some people would have genuinely hated it also, yeah.
Correct.
Or
Correct.
genuinely angry or irritated, because art has so many other interpretations as well. I mean, as much as you can be happy about it being an artist, that oh, there are so many varied interpretations or expressions and opinions on the film, but obviously because this is a business, you just want everyone to love it.
To love it, yeah.
But that's not possible.
I'm going to go back to the film. I don't know how. Do you have enough time? Do you have enough distance to look back and say, even right now, what could you have done differently? Okay, would you have done anything differently a week into the release of your film?
Now, no, I don't have that
Not
wisdom.
yet. Not yet. Not yet. Yeah.
Now that I'm really proud of the film, even without defending it.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want to defend it
Of
if you have
course.
not liked it, but I'm really proud of the process that we went through and how we went about it. So I'm still convinced this is the only way it could have been made, because considering the circumstances, how you shoot, the decisions that you take on a particular day, the logistics, everything culminates into something. And more than anything else, I completely believed in how the story should flow.
Absolutely.
So if you've disliked it, then 100% blame on me, because every pixel is my decision. So there is
Absolutely.
nothing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can say that ye uski wajah se hua, iski. No, it's me only. And if you love, then my team has really done a great job. Yeah, they've given their best.
Correct. I can talk a lot about your film, but I have, I have to let you go because I know that we'll talk again. Okay, but I just want to tell you, Vasan, that your body of work eventually always drops things to me personally. Like my favorite scene in the last 10 years is that Prince Amar Hotel scene with Siku and
So good,
with
yeah.
Raj, and of course with
Bhagwati
Akash
Parmar.
department,
Yeah, Akash
as I
department.
call him forever. But those three actors, that situation, I rewatched it again, and I love that scene so much. Even with Mard, there are scenes that I love so much. There are songs and there are lyrics, and it's such an important part of your storytelling. Farsh Pe Khade will always be one of my favorite tracks. Even with this, just the song has just stayed with it's inside of me. So for doing all of that as a fan, I would say thank you so much, and please continue to make amazing stories. It means a lot to people like me.
Thank you so much. Obviously, we'll keep trying.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Hi, I'm Vasan Bala. You're on Just to Filmy. Please do subscribe.